Back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and we're back with another one of our 24/7 news report videos. As always, we start with the headline news, and the headline news all seems to be around James Tarkowski. He will undergo his Everton medical today before signing for the club. He's agreed a deal with up to 4 years. That's come from Adam Crafton. There are some other reports that I'll go through now for him, for James Tarkowski. But Adam Crafton is a reporter for The Athletic, so quite a reliable source there, all things considered. Yeah, like I said, there are some more news. There's also the news coming from 90 Minute Football that Everton have agreed terms with James Tarkowski, who's set to have a medical. The defender was on top of Lampard's wish list. Everton offer was far higher than any of the others he got. So obviously this leads on to what Adam Crafton was saying. He's had his medical. We've offered him a lot more money than the other clubs did, which depends on how you feel on that, I guess, depends on your opinion. But yeah, up to 4 year deal. If it was a straight 4 year, I'm not that keen. The fact it's up to 4 years means it might be a little bit more flexible. I was a little bit nervous about giving a player 4 years when he's like 29. I think I even came on the channel and said I'd really be against that. So I have to stick with what I said originally and go, ooh. But if it's up to, that means that maybe it's like, I don't know, that additional extensions are available if he performs, which I'd be happy with that. If it's just a flat 4 year deal, that's a bit, but if it's up to and it's down to extensions, that's fine. Finally, Fabrizio Romano said Everton are set to sign James Tarkowski on a free. Verbal agreements have been reached and personal terms have been reached. Now waiting for paperwork. Almost here we go. Fabrizio, when he tweets it 9 times out of 10 happens, doesn't it? So if Fabrizio's tweeting it, then it's highly likely it's going to happen. So I'll have to wait and see on that one. We've also had Harry Redknapp, former Tottenham manager, of course, and many other clubs, say if I was Everton or Leeds, good clubs that take gambles, I would have a little gamble on him. This is when speaking about Gareth Bale, who's out of contract and supposedly meant the rumour to be going to Cardiff potentially. We did ask on the channel, would you take Bale at Everton? 4,862 of you have voted. I've still got 19 hours left, so go vote on that. You can go follow us on Twitter in the description down below, and go vote on these polls. 65% of you said yes, 35, including myself, said no. I said no just because, as good of a player he is, I think his best years are behind him. He'd just be using us to get fit, and this is the exact type of transfer we've all been slating the club for making. And then and in the end of last season, we were going, oh, it's this type of transfer. It's signing Wayne Rooney when we didn't need to sign Wayne Rooney back type of transfers that's got us in this mess. And now, because it's Gareth Bale and he's shiny, I think we're going to fall into old habits again. I don't think we're out of old habits, but we could easily fall back in them. I'd avoid Bale. There's not much difference from signing him there than when we signed Wayne Rooney. And I don't think we necessarily need Gareth Bale. I think there's wingers out there that are younger, who are going to perform a little bit better. He will literally be doing what he did to Tottenham last year. Was it last year or the year before? Where he's just using him to get his fitness up. I'd swerve. Gareth Bale, fantastic footballer, but I think the time's been and gone. Next, we have Tottenham, a midfielder. Harry Winks is potentially a target for Everton, but they would likely want to sign him on a long loan ahead of a permanent move. That's come from Matt Law of the Daily Telegraph. Again, we ran a little poll on the Toffee Blues Twitter. Would you sign Harry Winks? 2,299 have voted so far. That only has an hour left, so you probably missed out on that unless you get by the time this comes out. 71.9, including myself, said nope. 28.1 said yeah. Harry Winks, I mean, it's all personal opinions in football, isn't it? But he is very much the mould of an Andre Gomez, maybe a Tom Davis to an extent, but more an Andre Gomez. Has a little bit of an injury record. Yeah, I just don't think he's worth the punt. A lovely guy for all accounts. On the Tottenham documentary, he seemed absolutely lovely. We don't want lovely, we want good footballers. Yeah, no, this one stinks as well. This is a very Everton transfer as well. This and Gareth Bale are the two most Everton things I've seen in my life. Obviously, this is all rumour mill, but if we get these two, then I'm fully convinced, and people call me negative, I'm fully convinced nothing has changed at Everton, regardless of new faces, nothing changed. I'd swerve Harry Winks completely. We have also got news from Matt Law in the Daily Telegraph again, saying Frank Lampard wants to make at least 4 new signings this transfer window. It'd be interesting to see who they are. Broge has been linked a bit. Winks has been linked a bit. One of them looks like it might be Tarkowski. Gareth Bale is just Harry Redknapp's opinion, so I'm not going to count that. Conor Gallagher, I don't think Chelsea will get rid of. So it adds to who the fourth might be. So far, Winks, Broja, maybe Billy Gilmour, we've been linked with him a bit, and Tarkowski. I think maybe they're the ones I've seen with the most links, which means it might have the most legs. Speaking of Conor Gallagher, Matt Law did say Lampard also wants to add at least 1 new midfielder to his squad. Conor Gallagher is high on Lampard's list, but Gallagher is expected to be given the chance to impress Thomas Tuchel during pre-season. Not shocking, that is it, really. He also goes on to say Billy Gilmour is also well liked by Frank Lampard. So leading on to what we just read, I think it might be like Gilmour, Tarkowski, would probably end up getting like Broja, and then maybe Harry Winks on loan, which is a bit worrying for me because we need a defensive midfielder and none of them are that. We've lost Fabian Delph. We've lost, well, we're not lost Alan, but Alan is rumoured to be one of the ones we're looking to get rid of. Need a defensive midfielder, in my opinion, but we also have Frank Lampard has already outlined his master plan to get the best out of Calvert-Lewin amid reports linking the striker to a summer move. That's come from John T. Coleman. John T. Writes for the Mirror. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I think Lampard ideally wants to keep him and Richarlison, and there's no surprise there as they are our 2 best forwards by a clean mile. So it's not a massive shock. It'd be nice if we could keep both of them. I see one of them going. Speaking of Everton forwards, Atletico Madrid have discussed buying Moise Kean this summer. Everton will gain £24 million from any business done with the Italians this summer. That's come from Fabrizio Romano. Very interesting that. I didn't think he'd be a Diego Simeone player. Duncan Ferguson very quickly saw Moise Kean and pulled him off. And Diego Simeone, I think, has the same strictness, if not more, than Duncan Ferguson. So it'd be very interesting to see how that partnership goes down, how that relationship goes. I wouldn't have him down as an Atletico player. They've all sort of got to pull their weight there. I don't want to completely misspell the lad before because he's still quite young in his career. But when he was with us, I didn't see him having a defensive bone, which, to be fair, he's a forward. You know, you might argue, why does he need one? But he was pulled up a number of times as well for his work ethic. The United game that Duncan Ferguson pulled him off on being the most obvious one. So I don't know if maybe Simeone can turn his career around though. Someone like that will inspire you. So there is potential for Moise Kean to maybe hit the ball, hit the ground running. We also have finally Everton are one of 2 Premier League clubs linked with a move for Udinese midfielder Rodrigo Bacau. The 26-year-old Brazilian was one of the Italian club's top performers, making 36 appearances and helped steer them mid-table. According to Tutto Udinese, Antonio Conte's Tottenham and other English clubs are in for a hunt for the player worth around €20 million. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Clearly, we do need a new midfielder. I will probably die on the hill. We need a defensive midfielder. We are looking at that. You can't have a midfield of expect Allen to do all the legs again, and if he goes, you can't have a midfield of Tom Davis, Decore, and like Harry Winks. You just can't have a midfield like that. They just get absolutely run through, and 9 times out of 10, if that's our midfield going into next season, we're going to have a horrible season again. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Trying to be a bit optimistic. I'm sure we'll get a midfielder. I'm sure Lampard knows you can't just play with passive midfielders and passing midfielders. You do need a real defensive player there. All the times he played at Chelsea, you know, he had Makalele there behind him, being that type of player. Surely he'd sort of, you know, and he had SEN as well. So he knows the type of midfielder you need there. And like when he managed them, and they had Kante. So I'm hoping he's fully aware of that in his experience, especially with Makalele, and when Mourinho introduced the 4-3-3 to Chelsea, putting him there allowed Lampard the free rein. I'm almost certain the man should be well aware that he needs a defensive midfielder. But that is all we've got time for. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below any of the stuff I've discussed today. Are you happy to see Tarkowski over the line? What do you think about the potential 4 years? Are you shocked to see Diego Simeone want Moise Keane? Bit of a weird one. Gallagher, Gilmore, which one would you prefer more? All that good stuff. Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys very soon.